Welcome to the Python programming series. In this today last episode 8, we will study about file handling plus exception handling, which is also a very important topic in Python and it is the last episode we will be studying about. So far we have covered about all the basic Python. We studied about for loops, while loops, we studied about conditional if else elif, we studied about basic Pythons, we studied about strings, we studied about oops concept of oops, we studied about list, sets, dictionary and tuples. This last episode we will study about basic Python handling. For now I cannot use file handling examples because of some technical issues, but I will show you how this works, how the code works, so you can get the idea. So I'm going to use Jupyter Notebook as usual. So in part number 1, we will study why are we studying file handling. Every program we wrote so far, forget everything when it closes. Variables are gone, data is gone. But file handling lets you save data permanently and read it back later. This is how real programs store information. Basically, there's nothing to complicate. File handling just let you store the code. It just stores the code and you can read it back later. So we can see how can we use file handling, the operation on file handling. I will teach you all the operations on the file handling so you can use it later. So in this code we will study to the introduction to a file, writing a file. So you can see file is equal to open student.txt comma w. In this, we opened a file. This is how we open a file. We take a variable and open, and this is called file name. This first argument is file name, and w is the mode. W means write mode, so which means we can write in the file. When we do w mode, this is the file name, comma mode. Remember the syntax. I will show you. So this is the syntax I have showed in the comment. File is equal to open file name, comma mode. In this student doc test is the file name and W is the write mode. And when you apply the write mode, you can do file dot write by doing dot write, which you can write in the file and put values. File dot write Rahul. And this slash n means new line, so it will write in new line. Rahul new line and Priya new line and Hamad new line. And to close the file, you will use file dot close. Once after opening file, you can do file dot close after doing all the operation like writing operation, and finally you can close the file, and after the end you can print something file written. You can see file is written. This is the basic operation you can do on files. First you can open it and uh, enter the file name and mode you want to apply, and you can do operation on the files according to the mode. File dot write, you can write many times as you want, and at the later you should close it. Now, student doc test is created with three names: Rahul, Priya, and Hemant. So I recommend you to try it by yourself. Now we will study about different modes in Python. So as you can see here, in previous example, we study about W mode, write mode, which basically creates new, it basically write the data and overwrites if exist. And A mode, A means append. Appends adds to the end, and it keeps the existing content. And R is read mode. R means read existing files. It's very easy to understand and basic. R means read, A means append. Append adds to the end, keeping existing content. And R is for reading only, cannot change the file. Always think which mode you need for opening. So this is the different types of mode in the files. Now, In Python file, there is a better way method called with statement. With open is a correct way to work with files. It automatically closes the file when the block ends. So you don't need to do file.close because with the with statement automatically closes the file after you perform the operation. This is how with statement is implemented. With open, instead of storing it in a variable, you use with open file name comma mode as file, and remember the indentation, it should always come inside this with indentation. And you can, as the mode is write, you can write in the file Rahul Priya Ahmed, and you can print at the end, and file is automatically closed. There is no need to close the file. Even if an error, it automatically closes the file when the block end, even if an error occurs inside. You don't have to remember to call close. Always use open instead of plain open. So with open is a better way in file handling. So as you can see, print is done here. Now you can write multiple lines at one. You can loop through a list of student as you can see and write each item as a separate line. And slash line is the new line character. Without it, everything would be on one line. So yes, as you can see, student, we have created a list of students, and with open, we opened a file here. So this for loop loops inside the list of student for student in student, and it will perform write operation. It will add student. It will basically write student in a new line, like Rahul, Priya, Ahmed, Sarah in a new line, uh, in row. So this is how you can write multiple lines at once. Now, either you can do this, uh, you can do each by each file dot write Rahul slash n, Priya dot slash n, Emma dot slash n, or you can use for loop and do this. This is the benefit of using list and for loop. As you can see, how list and for loop uh, benefit us in Python. Now, you can read from a file also. We have opened a file student.test. R means read mode, and content, we have created a variable content, and it basically reads the file student.text file. It will basically read the student.text file.read, and it will print the content from the file. This is all it will do. As you can see, student.test, Rahul, Priya, Ahmed, Sarah. So here you can see it obtains the value from the student.text. Basically, what dot read does is read the content in file and print it. That's all. Nothing too overcomplicated. Now, if you want to do read line by line, you can use for loop. In this, you can see I have opened a file with open student.txt read mode as a file, and I used for loop for line in file. Print line dot strip. Basically, it will read line by line. As you can see, the output is same. Either you can use this code or you can use for loop. It depends upon you. I would recommend using for loop as it is very efficient in Python. With open student.txt as file, for it will check every line in file first, and it will print line in a new line. As you can see, dot strip will do that work. Now, code number 7, reading into a list. We can see we opened a file here with open student dot test read mode as file. Student is equal to file dot read lines. So read lines basically read all the lines in the file. This basically means it will read all the lines in the file. This is a important method. Read lines. File dot read lines will read all the lines in the Python. And when you do print dot student, it will uh, print the values. So the clean version would be like with open student dot text as file student equal to line dot strip for line in file. We are using for loop and we will print it. So there won't be this unnecessary slash n and it will give a cleaner value. I will show you by running. As you can see, when I did print student, it came Rahul slash n print by when I use line dot strip, it will remove the unnecessary value and print it in a cleaner version. So this is the example of a read mode also. In this we learned about read lines, which will read all the lines in the file. Now we are going to study about another method a. A means appending to file. So uh, we opened a file student.test and this mode is the A and we did operations in file.write Rohan and Nisha in a new line. So basically it appended the value to the file. So basically it won't change the file. The content will remain same and it will append new values like Rohan and Nisha. And after it, we open the file with open student.test r as file. It will read the final file. After we did the append, it will read the content in the file first, read mode, and it will print the values. I will show you by running it. As you can see, before it was Rahul, Priya, Ahmed, Sara only. And after we did appending A, file.write Rohan and file.write Nisha n, we added Rohan and Nisha successfully. So this is how you can append to a file. Now we are gonna study about exception handling. Now we have covered everything about the file, very basic stuffs about file, and I have covered everything about file you need to know. So you can try it yourself and practice it. We studied about writing a file, how we can write a file, a plain file. So when you do this, you have to do file dot close. Okay. If you do it, file it's equal to open student doc test comma w file dot write Rahul file dot write Priya and at the end you have to close the file. And we studied about the three main modes: write mode, append mode, read mode. Write mode creates new and overwrites if exist. Append adds to the end and it will keep existing content. Read mode read existing file. These are three important main mode. In code number 3, we studied about the which statement. Why and we knew why which statement is better because in which statement it automatically closes the file and if there is a error inside a file it will automatically close it, and that's why with open is more preferable because if you forgot to close the file, the with operation will automatically close the file. So that's why we prefer with. In this way we can open the file and do the operation as required without ever needing to close the file. So we studied how we can write multiple lines at once while using for loop, and we also saw how we can read from a file by read mode, and we also saw how we can read line by line by using for loop, and we also saw how we can read into a list of values, and we also saw the cleaner version here by using line dot strip for line in file and we printed it, as you can see. Please practice this code. I will send the code in the description box. And we also saw how we can append to a file, add values to a file. Append does not change the existing content. It will just add to the end. We saw with opens, we opened a file student.test and writed two values, and there is append mode, so it will append to the end. And when we did with open student.test r as file, it basically this read mode, it will read the file after every changes. File.read, we did file.read, and we saw the value Rahul, Priya, Ahmed, Sara, Roshan, Nisha. Now we move on to the next topic, exception handling. Why are we studying exception handling? Because when program crashes, user enter wrong input, file do not exist, network fails, division by zero happens. Without exception handling, one error stops the error entire program. With it, you can handle error gracefully and keep the program running. So you see, without exception handling, we inputted a number and printed the number, and when user type hello, the program crashes completely. For example, I type hello, you see the program crashes and it won't run. So with exception handling, there won't be any error. So we will study about exception handling. So I will run it. So we will study about uh, wait. Before moving on to another part 5, I will tell about exception handling. User typed hello instead of a number. Program crashed with error and stop. Anyone using your program would be frustrated. Except exception handling lets you catch this error and respond properly. So this is why exception handling is important. So we move on to part number 5, try and accept. So basically, try means the program will try. Try means the program will try the code inside it first. Okay, it will work as usual. Except this is not a valid number. Except means it is an exception. If the program crashes, the except block will handle it, and it will give a value. This is not a valid number, and if there is no error, the program continues. This is basically very easy to understand. I will show you by running it. For example, I write hello. So as you can see, there is no error because I used except block. If I didn't use except block, there would be a error. But as you know, I used it except block. It will print this is not a valid number. So this is why, as you see, clearly see why exception handling is important in Python. It is very important. So you can handle errors, and the program can continue smoothly without any errors. So first it will try this code, and if the user entered any wrong input, the exception this block will handle it. So it will print this is not a valid number, and the program will continue because this print statement is outside any condition, so it will always run. So as you can see why exception handling is very important, and we also learned about try and except block. So code inside try is attempted. If an error occurs, Python jumps immediately to accept. The error is caught, your message shows, and then the program continues. Without try except, the program would have stopped. Now it handles the problem and moves on. For example, I will remove the, I will comment it out and run the program. And see, without except, the program crashes and it will give an error. So if you put the except block again and run it, you can see there is no error. So this is why exception handling is very important, and we studied about try and except. Now code number 10, catching specific errors. Now here you can see there are many types of specific errors in Python, like value error, zero division error. So in Python there is we can do exception handling of this specific error also. Different error needs different responses. Value error happens when conversion fails, when you are converting a value. So value error happens when user types wrong input. Zero division error happens when dividing by zero. Catching specific error let you give the right message for the right problem. Always be as specific as possible. In this, we first tried. We used try and we inputted a number. Result is 100 in number print. Uh, Except value if user entered a text, the value error will handle it and it will print please enter a number not text. And if user divided by 0, it will print cannot divide by 0. This is how we can handle specific errors. I will show you by running it. For example, I enter a text hello. It will ask me please enter a number not text. So this except block will perfectly handle the error. Now I will run it again. I will run by 6. I will put 6. Result is 6. Okay. Nice. Now I put 0. And as you can see, this except block will run. Except zero division error block will run. And it will print cannot divide by 0. And it handles the zero division error. This is how we can catch specific error and handle it. So this is why exception handling is important. We learned about except value error and except zero division error. Now, we will talk about else and finally. So here you can see try, except value error, division error, and else and finally. Else runs only when no error occurred. It is where you put the success code. Finally always runs no matter what. So you see else is like if else, else will run if condition match. So else will run if there is no error. And finally always run no matter what. Error or no error. Finally is used for cleanup, closing a file, closing a database connection, things that might happens regardless. So finally block will always run no matter what, and else runs only if there is no error. So I will show you by running it. For example, I inputted a number. For example, I will input hello. Look, as you can see, I put a text and the value error will work and it will ask a not a valid number because I did not put a number, but I put a text. But the finally blocks will always run no matter what. If there is a error or not a error, this will always run. As you can see, this always run. This is from the finally block. The finally block implement this always run. So it will always run if there is no error. The else block will always run if there is no error. I will show you by giving more example. For example, I give a number 10. As you can see, the else block will always run, only run if there is no error. As you can see, this is the result from the else block implementation. Result is 10 and it printed the result, and it only ran when I put a correct value, and it ran when there is no error. And as you can see, finally block always run no matter what. It will always print at the end. So this is the concept about else and finally. Now I will give one another example. For example, 0. As you can see, except zero division error handles error of 0. I entered a 0 and the except zero division block activates and it prints cannot divide by 0, and the finally block will always run no matter what. And this is how you can understand the concept of else and finally, which is also important. So I hope you understand else and finally, and try and accept and specific errors like value error, zero division error, And you know, understand now, you can now understand why exception handling is very important. Now, we move on to another type of error, file not found error. So it is a very common situation. For example, if user try to open a file that does not exist, without exceptional handling, it will crash. The program will crash and give a error. So that's why we implement file not found error method. Uh, if a user entered a wrong file, it will print file does not exist. If a user entered a correct file, the except block will not run and the code will run normally. But if user entered wrong file, the file except block will activate and it will print file does not exist. As you can see, the data.txt is incorrect file. We were using dot text file. So this is the incorrect file. So if I change this to wait, students doc test, as you can see, it will print the content Rahul Priya Ahmed. But for example, if I put a wrong file, in this I put a wrong file like hello.txt, uh, it will print file does not exist because we already handled the error by using except block file not found error. Imagine if I cut it out, comment it out and do not run it. See what happens. Python will give a error and the program will crash. So the except block will handle the error. You see, if I bring back the except block, there won't be no error and it will print file does not exist. This is the common, this is how we can solve file not found error with using except block. Now, in Python, we can raise our own exception. Here, I have created a function set age. If in this it checks if age is less than 0 or age is bigger than 150 and it raises a value error, age must be between 0 and 150 and the return age will run no matter what, and it will this means it will exit the function and stop the function and return the value. So we can in Python we can do our own exception and modify it according to the code. In this we can see if age is less than equal to 0 or age is bigger than 150, we will raise a value error. In this it must the age for example is if user putted value 160, so it will raise a value error and age must be between 0 and 150. So try will do set age -5 and accept value error as e, it will print the error. So let me show you by running it. As you can see, we user entered -5 which is less than 0, and in this age must the condition is age must be between 0 and 150 and -5 is less than 0, so it will raise a value error. Age must be between 0 and 150. Imagine if I did not use it, I commented it out. So I will the Python will raise error. As you can see, the program crashes and it will raise error because I did not implemented value error. So it will the program will crash. So as you can see, if I bring back the raise value error, it will print the value. Age must be between 0 and 150. This is how we can raise your own exception in Python. This is how useful exception handling in Python is. So this is how you can call a value error also, like except value error. It will bring from this as e. It will print the value error. So this is all about code number 13. Now we are done with exception handling. We studied about all the exception handling, try and except, uh, uh, else and finally, and file not found error, and specific errors like value error, zero division error, and we studied why file handling is exception handling is very important. We studied about file handling, how we can handle file, and work with many methods of file handling. We studied about different types of mode, read mode, write mode, append mode, and we studied how file handling and exception handling is very important. In part number 6, we will put it all together, file handling with exception handling, a simple code. Now I will show you. We have defined a function save student name marks, and in this inside it we opened a record.txt as a file, and file this is append mode, and file.write, it will write inside the file, basically append into the file. It will write name marks in a new line, and it will print saved at the end. And in this read function read student, it will first try with open record.txt rs file. We opened the records.txt file in a read mode, and we looped inside the file for line in file parts to line.strip.split. We splitted it. So now you can see it will come in a list separated by a comma, and when you do print name, it will print the index value of the list, and name will be the index value of the list, and marks also it will print from the list marks. uh, if we entered wrong file, it will the except block will handle by file not found error, no records found yet. Now we implement the function by calling it save student Rahul 85, save student Priya 92, and it will read finally. I will show you by running it. You see, uh, you see it first save student Rahul 85. It will go to the save function, and the Rahul is the name and 85 is the marks. First, it will append to the file uh, in this format. It will print in new line Rahul first and Priya and then, and it will finally print saved name, only name, not marks. And after we do read dot student, it will read the value from this, and it will print the name and the marks, as you can see in this code. Name Rahul marks 85, name Priya marks 92, and except file not found error will handle the wrong file. For example, in this I put hello.txt. As you can see, no records found yet. It handled the file error. We put a wrong file, and it worked. Imagine if we commented it out and we run it. Python, the program will crash and it will give a run. It will give a error. And if we comment it out and use it, okay, as you can see, the except will handle the file not found error, and it will give no error. The program will not cache, but it will print no records found yet. So if we put it, we will change it back to records. You can see it will print the all the name Rahul Priya and Rahul Priya and Rahul Priya. This is how it works. So in this code, we can see we implemented file handling and exception handling together. And this is a very perfect code. So I will send all the code in the description. And we also saw how the file not found error works, how exception handling works here, and we can see how we can open file with operation, and saw how the code works. So uh, we are done with our topic file handling and exception handling, which is a very important topic in Python. And we are done with our Python programming series, and it comes to an end. I hope you guys keep practicing the code. I will provide in the description box, and keep practicing. And I'm very happy to teach you guys this Python programming series. So good luck, guys. Thank you.